No, I'm going to be. Okay, guys. I'm putting it on either way, so yeah. Thank you to those who are not here. I suppose I have to watch what I say now because it will be recorded in proof. Guys, HIV AIDS assignment. Big assignment, 20% of your mark. You've got between 10 and 14 people. The part-time class, I'm allowing up to 16 people in a group. And the only reason why I'm allowing that with the part-time class, in case there's any issues about that, is because the part-time class is so huge. It's much bigger than it should be at the end of the day. Guys, this is in your course outline, so you don't need to write down every detail, etc., guys. But what is important here, it's due 18 to 22 September, guys. You will also see if you go to your course outline, but if you go to your presentation schedule, you'll see I've blocked off 3 weeks for you guys. Again, the part-time guys have only got 2 weeks. The simple reason is because I've given you 3 weeks so download the presentation schedule. You'll see there's a 3-week gap in which you will have consultation classes. So if you want to see me, I'll be in my office. But you will have time to work on your HIV AIDS assignment, etc. I will be around and you will be able to consult, etc. around it, okay? So you can't complain that you don't have enough time, etc. for the HIV AIDS assignment. Okay. Guys, I've set out in a fair amount of detail what I expect from you. So if you look over here, and sorry, there's a pen trying to get the, okay. If you look, I'm just going down now, but you've got a mark allocation over here, guys, and that tells you everything that should be in there. And the amount of marks also indicates the amount of detail that you should allocate to a particular section, guys. And, okay, sorry. Okay. So, guys, point. Okay, one thing, what I did want to sort out. You did the practice reflective report. I'm just going to go to that first, but so there's an individual reflective report, even though you're 14 people together, that you individually reflect, and I don't want 14 copies of the same thing with 1 or 2 little bits extra added into it. Then I'm going to give you 1 mark, and it won't be a very good mark. So, yes, I will divide by 14, and if it's out of, how much is your reflective report out of at the end of the day? If it's out of 45, yeah, so I'll mark it out of 3 or something like that. So guys, bottom line, individual reflective report on the HIV AIDS assignment, guys. So are we clear on that one? So you must individually reflect about the process that you followed in order to set up that HIV AIDS assignment, who did what within the group, and be honest about it, guys. Don't just try and make it look like you did a great job, guys, because processes don't run perfectly. There's lots of things happening. Hello, there's 9 people in the class today, and people don't always do what they're supposed to do. Things don't always work the way they're supposed to work, guys. Your lecturers might treat you as if they did everything perfectly. They didn't do everything perfectly in their lives either. Trust me, they still don't do everything perfectly now. See, I'm in trouble. I've said something on record I shouldn't have. But the point is, guys, it's that reflective report. It's about honesty and insight. It's not about trying to look wonderful. So it's not a BS report where you go and try and make it look like, oh, we just did things perfectly, guys. And what will also stand out is when I look at your actual product that you produced and I compare it to the reflective reports, etc. at the end of the day. So, okay, so that reflective report is important, guys, because it's what will distinguish you from your fellow group members, guys, and I expect a fairly comprehensive report, probably 4 to 6 pages long, where there's a fair amount of insight, understanding demonstrated, and honesty, etc. You're going to get good marks if you reflect on the process, who did what, and not just, guys, list and say, what did you learn from the process? So I learned about HIV AIDS and the process. I learned how to work as a team. What did you actually learn from the process? What did you learn about the people that you worked with? What did you learn about how the process worked. And then the last question is particularly important: how could you have done things better or differently at the end of the day? So that reflective report is important, guys. Then, okay, so I now dealt with that first, but in terms of the assignment, guys, so that's the individual component, so it's 5 marks out of 300, which is, so am I correct, out of 45 out of 300, which is about 30, it's 15% of your overall mark is dependent on you as an individual, guys. Okay, so what do you need to submit to me, guys? Okay, it's a project, you need to set up a Gantt chart for the project. Guys, and you should start looking at your Gantt charts already in your initial project planning stage. You should look at your dates, guys. What's also, you tell me you're working nights, etc. And guys, we all do it, I know it. I'm sitting trying to write up my PhD and I work late nights and I run round and I do whatever. But sit down and look at planning when what's going to happen. So when are you going to do the different things? When you're going to meet with the people from the organization? Who's going to schedule it? Who's going to take responsibility for the different steps, etc. And important in that Gantt chart, guys, is that all the steps are listed, that you've allocated responsibilities to your group member, and don't just say all over the place, guys. That's not going to go down that well either. As I say, guys, I need you to apply your minds to this. Okay. The second thing, so you need to select a community-based centre, school, or school where you will conduct your HIV/AIDS mini workshop. It can even be an organisation, guys. I don't care as long as you've got some people you're going to train. I don't really care where you get them from. The bottom line, guys. Okay, I said part-time students, but even full-time students, if you've got access to an organisation, you know, like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And you're looking at conducting a 3 to 6 hour workshop. Okay, so guys, in terms of that workshop, guys, you need to meet with the manager of the organization because you've got to get access to the organization. But I want you to record the minutes of that meeting, what happened. So I want a report about the meeting, not just the email that you said to the manager. I want you to record the words I use over here, guys, transcript of the meeting. So I want you to write down what was said, who said what, who met with the oak, what agreements you made, etc. Because that transcript is also helpful because you can send a copy to the person that you've negotiated with, and you can just to confirm the details and see that he agrees with what you said, etc. So that you don't have a problem later when it comes to conducting the workshop and they pull out at the last moment or whatever. Okay, guys, so then, guys, you select a community-based organization. You must conduct a basic training needs analysis. Guys, and I want you to think very carefully. I gave you a whole lot of tools for the training needs analysis. If you look on Blackboard, there's a whole lot of tools there, but you can also look online, guys, and Google HIV AIDS training needs analysis. Are you wanting to, someone in this group was chatting about that they're going to go to hospital where you've got HIV AIDS positive people. Is that group missing today? Okay. But that was an interesting one because their approach will not be educating how people to prevent HIV AIDS. It's a bit late. Their issue would be about educating people how to live with HIV AIDS and dealing with the issues around it and maybe the stigma around it, etc. So look at the slant, etc. But your training needs analysis, the questions that you would ask would depend on your target group. You maybe also want to ask some questions about your target group, age, educational levels, previous experience, have they had any training in HIV AIDS, etc. There's 101 things that you could ask. But you can also use your training needs analysis for your evaluation in the sense of, for example, if you've got a basic idea what you're going to approach with this group. So if you want to, example, you measure their attitudes beforehand and after, then you can evaluate whether these people have actually learned anything from it. So you can use similar questions in your evaluation at the end of the program or in your assessment at the end of the program to line up with your training needs analysis. And then you've got an evaluation as well, guys. And if you've got stuff that links up like that, you're going to make me very happy. You make me happy. I give you lots of marks, etc. You don't make me, you know what the deal is. Okay. So, guys, your training needs analysis is important, guys, because, as I say, it lines up. And if I can see the link between your training needs analysis and what you actually do in your training program. So if you've linked up your outcomes to your training needs analysis, so you've identified these are the key things that the learners need to learn, so you've written outcomes according to that, and then you've constructed your content according to the outcomes. Okay. Then, guys, you need to put a notice to learners, and the more evidence, the merrier, guys. I want lots of evidence at the end of the day. So I want you to put a notice to learners out there where you explain to them exactly what will be done and what will be covered and when the workshop is, etc. So you've got to communicate with your learners. Remember when we said about managing any intervention, the actual delivery, you've got to communicate with your learners. So your notice to learners is your evidence thereof. As I said, this should be inspirational. It should encourage the learners to attend. Okay, guys, your trainer's guide. Okay, design a trainer's guide according to the specifications given by the centre or school. All 13 points must be included. Refer to attachments. So if you look at, it is on Blackboard, just like this, guys. There's a template on Blackboard, and it's got all the sections of the learner's guide in it. So if you go down, guys, there's your cover page for your assignment, and there's instructions for your template. It says to you what should be done, and there are the different sections that occur within your template, guys, and it's important that you reference. I want to know where you got your stuff from, etc. So, guys, each section is explained clearly, guys, but you need to look at in terms of what are the requirements for each section. So there's your lessons, your title, course coordination, communicating, which of the things do you did. Okay, and then, for example, get cooperation, your letter of permission. I've put a letter of permission on your actual assignment, if you look at the end, that you can use to communicate with the organization. Relevant number of learners, read through all the requirements over there, guys. Arrange in the training room. How's the training room going to be arranged, etc., guys? You can go through each section there. And I would suggest that you look over this thing beforehand, guys. Your lesson plan, that is the meat of this trainer's guide, guys, because that is the actual contents that you're going to use in order to deliver the program. Guys, so those spaces, there are absolutely no indication of anything. It's just a template, an electronic template that you've got to fill in the information. The whole idea with this trainer's guide is I must be able to take your trainer's guide and go to another organization and conduct the training program, assuming that I've got competence in the subject area. So all the information that you used during your training program, all the resources, everything must be put together in that trainer's guide. So it's a tool that your trainer or facilitator will use in order to conduct a HIV AIDS training program at the end of the day. Okay. Guys, important, I say content, you're obviously going to get content from various sources, but it's really important that you reference those sources. And guys, please don't pull the stunt of trying to take other one's program verbatim and just give it in as your own. I will have at least one group that does that, and I will have at least one group with zero consequently. Guys, your assessment, as I said, you can link your assessment to your training needs analysis, which will also, then you can evaluate your program by comparing your assessment to your training needs analysis. It's one way of doing it. And then the evaluation, guys, what were the key issues identified from the course evaluations? There's a separate evaluation document that I give you. So you can do two things. You can link your assessment to your training needs analysis, and then you can also evaluate your learner satisfaction with your program, and I want you to write up the results in that thing, guys. So you need to interpret those questionnaires, and you need to attach the questionnaires that you got. Evidence, evidence, evidence. Guys, don't just say you did something. If I don't see the evidence there, I can't assume you did it, etc. at the end of the day. And then obviously your list of sources at the end. Your learner guide, guys, is similar, but it's obviously more limited. Introduction, course overview, goals and outcomes, the agenda, the content that you're giving to the learners, and the list of sources, guys. But again, your learner guide over here, if you look at it, I give you, the red is I give you guidelines, what should be covered in each section, etc. Oh, here's your letter that you've got to the organization that you can use. I've still got 2016 on the letter. So we better change it to 2018. Correct. Okay, problem sorted. But bottom line is, so you've got a resource that you can access the information in over there. Okay, guys, so the learner guides, and if you look, okay, let's just go back to the beginning of the whole process. Sorry, I'm working on two screens because of this recording software. That's why I'm looking backwards the whole time. So you do your notice to learners, your trainer's guide, your learner's guide, guys, and those are meaty things. So it's a comprehensive, fully fledged trainers and learners guide. Also, when you conduct a training, guys, you obviously have to print your learner's guide, hand out copies to your guys, but don't also go overboard, guys. If you're going to do it, you don't want to break the budget, etc. And it's not about, it must look professional, but it doesn't have to be like all colored and glossy paper and crap. It's going to cost you an absolute fortune, guys. Something can look perfectly professional if it's just neatly printed, stapled in the top left-hand corner. It's just about the way it's structured and not having errors in it and well laid out, etc. You can even print back and front on the page. This is going to cost you less money, guys. Those things are not, there's no problem with that. It's not, and it's not about, guys, there's this, like, still seems like at the BTEC level, still like this idea that you've got from school level that pretty is better, guys. It's professional is better, and it's about the content. Guys, then, you must reference. I said you must have, based on a sound knowledge, and guys, that's why we got the workshop. How many of you are attending the workshop? It will be the first Saturday after. Who's attending?
I was like,
And other, just one member of your group? You can, you're welcome. Okay, so the more the merrier on the day. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. We will, so, and it will be to your advantage, guys. What's the point is, you've attended a workshop, and then you've got a feel for what you should be doing when you're working with your learners, etc. So you can only benefit from it, guys. Then present the course at the center school, groups of 12 or whatever members. You need to provide at least 30 minutes of video evidence taken on a cell phone of the process, but this video evidence needs to be edited. I don't just want 30 minutes of, I want to slit my wrists type of video, guys. I want to be watching that, and I want to see the highlights of your program. So you would obviously record more than 30. You can use more than one cell phone to record it. I would suggest that, given the large number of people that are involved in your group, that you could allocate 1 or 2 people to do the videoing, and you can interchange with one another, etc. And then once you've got all this video footage, you need to get a video editing program. There's lots of them, guys. One example is Filmora that works quite well. The downside of Filmora is it's got a big watermark across the page, but it's not the end of the world. But you can go onto Google free video editing software, and then if you go onto YouTube, if you've got that software, you want to know how to do specific things, you go onto YouTube, and you'll actually find instruction videos on just about anything and everything that you want to do. So put in best free video editing software or whatever into Google, you're going to find something good. Guys, point of order, don't leave that to the last minute just before you submit. You're probably going to spend, the person who ever does your editing for you is assigned the responsibilities, probably going to spend the best part of a day putting together a decent quality video. Because it's not just about splicing the different parts together, it's also about You need to put some, what's it called, headings on the video, etc. You preferably want, if you link different scenes, to let them run smoothly into another. Guys, the bottom line, the more you impress me, the better you're going to do. It's about effort, etc. And it's evidence that you have worked on it and that you've applied your mind, etc. Guys, that's a general rule for anything. You want to do well in life, you need to impress the people that are in power positions in your life. And unfortunately, guys, I'm currently in a power position because I decide on your marks. But and in the sense of, I get impressed by the fact that I can see that you've put work and effort into your assignment at the end of the day, that you haven't just like stuffed something together or run around and done something at the last moment. And if it's professionally done, guys, it also gives the impression that the training that you conducted looks good as well. So it's a double win at the end of the day, guys. Okay, and guys, it doesn't mean that things aren't going to go wrong. It's like, hello, I struggle now to get my software running on my computer, so things don't always run as smoothly as one hopes, etc. That's life. And again, when you get your reflective report, be honest about those things. It's not about, as I say, trying to look good. We've got this terrible culture of we try to look wonderful and then things are an absolute mess. You know, like it's trying to, never mind, let's not even say what I want, especially not on video. Okay, so you want that's 30 minutes of edited video evidence. Hey guys, it's not 30 minutes of evidence in total, so it's edited. You've taken a couple of hours of video and you've reduced it down to 30 minutes where you've brought out the most important exercises, your guys presenting, your guys busy with a facilitation session, whatever in class. Guys, then you have to do an evaluation. There's a template that I've attached, but you can also add to this, I say, if you link your evaluation to your assessment and your training needs analysis, guys, but the key part of the evaluation and of the training needs analysis is making sense of that information. So you need to take the questionnaires. You got the questionnaire, so many people answered this. So analyze the data first, so turn it into percentages, etc., and then say what those percentages mean. So were the people particularly happy with what was the feeling about this? Was the one question differ quite dramatically from the other questions, etc., guys? And again, it's not necessary about that you have a wonderful evaluation form. Your learners might have knocked you on a few things. If they have knocked you, it's actually to your advantage, because then you can say, yes, the learner said this, and actually that didn't run so well, and we've learned that from the process, etc. And then, okay, so it's important to be as honest and real as possible. Okay, you need to, as I say, you need to reflect or submit an individual reflective report at the end of the day. You need to submit the following summary of the initial meeting where you obtain permission from the organization, including name and contact details of the person who gave you the permission. Okay, so I want that, but together with a transcript of the meeting. The notice to learners, evidence of questionnaires used to conduct your training needs analysis, a minimum of 5 actually completed questionnaires, guys. And please don't let me look at them and see that they're in the same handwriting, 5 different pens, but in the same handwriting. Or, guys, that the group members have, it's quite obvious when they've been faked these things. Okay. An analysis of the questionnaires and how the findings were impacted on the design of your training program. So you need to do your training analysis. You need to say, what did the learners say, what their needs were, and therefore what were you going to include in your facilitator guide, in your learner guide. So what content were you going to include based on your training needs analysis. So if you want a distinction for this assignment, I need to see a clear link over there. If I don't see the link, there's no way on earth that you're going to be distinction lead for this assignment. Okay, then your trainer guide or your trainer facilitator guide, your learner guide, copies of your PowerPoint slides and other training materials, the 30-minute video. Guys, I want that video on a CD or on a memory stick. It's attached to your assignment, hand it in, and you make sure it works before you submit it to me. And I have had a number of instances in the past, guys, and this year I've got 220 students. If it doesn't work, I don't mark it. And I don't do it later. Are we clear on that one? 100. It's going to be like with your PDP, the same deal. On your PDP, you're going to have to upload a YouTube link. You can even, guys, hear me on this. Why are you looking so worried about YouTube? No one's that interested in you, trust me. My dear, unless you're standing there and doing something really inappropriate, no one's going to be looking around for your videos at the end of the day. That's the reality. There's YouTube, I don't know how many hours of video get loaded up every second. But it has to be public, your link, because I can't see it if it's not public. Remember that with your PDP, I'm going to emphasize it as well, but I'm still going to have problems. The other option with your, I think with assignment, just CD or memory stick and it's attached to assignment. When it comes to the PDP assignment, you're going to put a link in your LinkedIn profile to your YouTube video, and then you must make sure that someone else can view it at the end of the day, guys. I also don't want stuff emailed to me. I'm going to ignore the emails for stuff, oh, we forgot this or we forgot that, guys. It just makes my job impossible. I'm going to mark what I've physically got in front of me. If it comes via email, it's late. So minus 5% of the whole assignment. So it doesn't count. Bottom line is the whole thing comes in on time, or what's not there doesn't get marked because it's just an administrative nightmare. And yeah, so I'm actually drawing the line there. I'm not going to, we didn't do this, or we forgot this, or I forgot my reflective report. Too bad, too sad, 0. Okay. Evidence, okay. Training materials used, PowerPoint, etc. Where's my mouse? There we go. Videos, DVDs used, handouts, attendance register, important. Any other materials that you used, completed evaluation forms. All learners attending the workshop, guys, so I want to see attached as an annexure. So you're going to hand in a sizable document to me at the end of the day, guys. An analysis of the evaluation forms, so you need to make sense of them, guys. I don't just want, an analysis doesn't mean just you said so many people said this. What does that mean? So how did they rate you on the different dimensions in the evaluation form? And then the detailed individual reflective report. This all needs to be combined in a structured, ordered manner with a cover page, table of contents, list of group members, etc. And there's example of the cover page at the end of the report. So important, guys, as you said, it is an individual aspect that it's done. And here, guys, there's a checklist, and there's each section what you need to do and how many marks are awarded for it, guys. So, yeah. And it tells you, so for example, your course agenda and lesson plan properly structured, relevant content, appropriate delivery methods, assessment process, etc. All of that linked together. Your learner guide, that it's properly structured according to template, valid content, etc. Your video, it's quite important, guys. It's 40 marks. Your reflective report is the only thing that individually counts more than that. Your technical care is 15, that I can find everything, got proper table of contents, etc. Guys, I don't want to spend half my life running around. The employee of the university, I'm going to scream my heads off. Don't do any cleaning, but we scream my heads off. Okay. So, guys, use that as a checklist. You know that everything's there. It's valuable documents in that regard. Guys, a checklist works. Make sure you've got everything in there. And don't do it the morning before you're going to hand in, guys. It's not going to work. Because then you're going to have the people running around, headless chicken, etc. But the printers aren't working, guys. It's sleep with the printers don't work. Oh, well, I'm in trouble again. But, guys... Yeah, please don't come tell me the printers aren't working, etc., guys. You need to plan those things into what you do. And the same thing, as I say, guys, in the first class of the week of 18 to 22 September, so in your case it will be due on, if the timetable is standing, whatever day your first class is in that week. Questions about the assignment? So it is a solid piece of work, guys. It's not something that you're just going to quickly set up, etc. And I've put aside time for you to do this, but you should be planning on it beforehand and already look at which organizations you're going to connect at, and maybe have a meeting with your guys and start already looking at who's going to do what, etc. But your HIV/AIDS assignment or HIV/AIDS workshop is going to be hugely valuable in that regard, giving you a feel for the whole thing, guys. And also then keep in mind your presentations that you're going to be doing, because you're going to also be, the only day that you're not presenting is the day on which you submit your HIV/AIDS assignment, because I know you lot, no offense, going in trouble saying rude things about you, but guys, it's hello, assignment, no one's here, etc., everyone's running around, whatever. So, but plan your things. If you aren't already planning, you should have some plan and layout of what you're going to do, hence that Gantt chart, etc. You should probably have a Gantt chart in terms of how you're going to work on your different assignments, because you guys have got a lot of work that you have to do on BTech level. You've got a lot of assignments, etc., that you've got to do. And that's life, guys. It doesn't get better, I'm afraid. Okay, no more questions. No questions, full stop. Anyone, anything? Nothing.